Hey everyone, this is Brainwaves, and in this video I'm gonna show you my remake of Guess by Charli XCX and Billie Eilish. This whole project file, as usual, is available on my Patreon along with many others, so feel free to check the link in the description if you want to get it, and let's get started.
You wanna guess the color of my underwear? You wanna know what I got going on down there? Is it pretty in pink or all see-through? Is it showing off my brand new lower back tattoo? You wanna put 'em in your mouth, pull 'em all down south. You wanna turn this shit out, that's what I'm talking about. Put 'em in your mouth, pull 'em all down south. You wanna turn this shit out, that's what I'm talking about. Guess the color of your underwear. Already know what you got going on down there. It's the lacy black hair with the little bows, the ones I picked out for you in Tokyo.
So I didn't remake the whole track, but I wanted to remake some of like my own most interesting parts for me. So one of them was just like the pluck in the intro and like all the percussion-y thing and stuff. So this section,
Guess the color of my,
and then a little bit ahead.
put 'em in your mouth, pull 'em all down south. You wanna
Then after that, I also wanted to remake this section in here,
guess the color of your underwear. Already
which is a little bit busier. And then I obviously wanted to recreate like the most like drop part of the song, like this section. So yeah, I'm just gonna show you how I did all of that. Basically, for the drum pattern, kick is normal. It's your standard like 4 to the floor kick drum pattern with a clap every other kick. Hi-hat also is like the standard pattern for this type of songs. BPM is 130 just in case. And then I started like recreating as close as possible some of like the percussion-y element. I put a drum rack in there, and I didn't use like all of the sounds, I think, in the drum rack, at least not for this first section, but I'm gonna show you what they sound like. So it's pretty weird by themselves, like pretty non-interesting, but it just helps with the flow of everything once you put them together, like in here. They're kind of like ghost notes, you could say. I put them on a drum rack because it's just easier to control like the velocity of them, and so it's easier to kind of create variations that way in volume and to make them sound like more organic. And then in this section I did use more of little percussion-y elements, like in here. So I just listened closely to the original, and I started like really dissecting where all the elements are placed, and I tried to do something close to that. And I also have like a hi-hat loop. Some of the elements might not be like exactly what they are in the original, but I wanted to keep the vibe as close as possible. Then going for like the pluck that you hear early in the song, this one.
guess the color.
Oh, I also have like the acapella from the track, so yeah.
guess the color of my underwear. You wanna know what I got going on down there? Is it pretty in pink?
So this plug I created with Serum. It's a square wave in the octave of C1. You can see that I'm using C2 in here, but I have one octave down in the oscillator, so essentially C1. And it has a filter that is being modulated by the second envelope, as well as the level without the filter. Sounds like that. And then it has some distortion and some reverb, so without those. So yeah, just creating a little bit more space and character in there. But yeah, pretty simple one. It took me a while to decipher this one, but it was like a pretty simple one, to be honest. Then in the track they create like a wider version of that plug later on, like in here.
Put 'em in your mouth, pull 'em all down south. You wanna turn this shit out, that's what I'm talking about.
And so what I did is put some hyper dimension and some delay, and you can see that with the delay I'm basically doing like a hash effect, which is basically setting a very short delay in the left side and then a slightly longer delay on the right channel, and that creates like a nice wide effect. And also something that I forgot to mention on the previous one as well is that I have portamento, mono, and legato. The portamento is around 46, and then that's helping with the way that the notes kind of behave when they're pitching up, like in here. If I take the portamento out, or if I just put it back to 0, it doesn't have the same effect. So I set around 46 milliseconds of portamento, and that really helped. Also, in the second plug that is a little bit wider, I changed the envelope a little bit, so the sustain is not at minus infinite anymore, it's around 28%, and yeah, that made it a little bit closer to what the original is doing.
Pretty, put 'em in your mouth, pull 'em all down south.
Then for this section,
Guess the color of your underwear.
you can see how I have like a busier drum work in here, which I already broke down, but then I have some more going on also in the synths. So plug stays the same, but I have a sub bass layer beneath the plug, which is just a sine wave, a little bit of a master tune modulation just to create a pitch down effect. And then I just tried to listen for what the bass line was doing in terms of like movement, and this is what I came up with. Not sure if it's like fully accurate, but kind of sounds similar, so it's pretty much like following these notes. And then I had to be a little bit creative because I felt like I was missing something in the bass or like in the low mids, so I started like resampling stuff, and I came up with like this perk loop. And even though it's not like a bass synth or something, it just helps to fill out on those frequencies. So
guess the color of your underwear, already know what you got going on down there. It's the lacy black hair.
It just helps to make it feel like fuller. So that's for that section. And then I think what most of you guys kind of want to know, kind of like the main reason for me to remake this track, was to figure out how this was done. So let me jump into this section. So first and foremost, the side chaining here is really important. If I mute my sidechain, it sounds like this. It doesn't have like the bounce that the original has, so yeah, sidechain. And then for what is happening in the synth, I'm just gonna mute all of this and show you what's going on. I have a sine wave, then I enable FM 31%. Second oscillator is the default wavetable in Serum, and it's going 3 octaves up and 4 semitones up, and the level is around 41. So that's how that sounds. Still not close, but kinda there. Then I put a filter, cutting around like 6500, and I routed both oscillators to that filter. Then I put compression, multiband, distortion, and yeah, that gives it like that gritty noise. Then outside of Serum, I put a EQ, just boosting a lot of the sub bass, then wider, and then I cut the sub bass with this other EQ. So why am I boosting the sub if then I'm cutting it? Basically, even though I'm cutting it, I'm getting a little bit of the character from this boost anyways, so that's why. And I boost around like 1k in here. And I just, for mixing purposes, I created a separate sub bass, which is just a sine wave with a little bit of soft clipping, distortion, and the same master tune modulation that I showed on the previous sub bass. So both of them together, they sound like this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this has been helpful. The whole project file is available on my Patreon if you guys want to get it. Also, I'm doing one-on-one coaching, so if you want to jump on a Zoom call with me, feel free to check the link in the description for that as well. Please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I hope I see you around.
You wanna guess the color of my underwear? You wanna know what I got going on down there? Is it pretty in pink or all see-through? Is it showing off my brand new lower back tattoo? You wanna put them in your mouth, pull them all down south. You wanna turn this